I stared at the rejection letter from my father's company, Bennett Industries, the same company where I'd worked in R&D for 3 years before being fired. Before they called my vision unrealistic, and my inventions stupid wastes of company resources. Ms. Elizabeth Bennett, thank you for your patent submission. Unfortunately, your solar energy storage solution does not align with our current business objectives. I laughed bitterly, thinking back to that final confrontation in Dad's office 18 months ago. For God's sake, Elizabeth, he'd shouted, throwing my prototype designs across his desk. Stop wasting time on these stupid inventions. We're an oil and gas company, not some green energy startup. The world is changing, Dad, I'd argued. Renewable energy is the future. My battery design could revolutionize. Enough. He'd slammed his hand down. Either focus on our core business or clear out your desk. I'd looked at him, then really looked at him. Richard Bennett, CEO of Bennett Industries, stuck in the past while the future rushed forward without him. I choose door number 2, I'd said quietly, gathering my designs. I quit. You'll never make it on your own, he'd sneered. These ridiculous dreams of yours will bankrupt you. Now 18 months later, I sat in my own lab, surrounded by working prototypes of the very technology they'd rejected. My company, Phoenix Energy Solutions, had just completed successful trials of our revolutionary solar battery system, one that could store solar energy for 6 months with minimal loss. Dr. Bennett? My assistant Michael knocked on my door. The test results from the Arizona facility are in. The batteries exceeded all projected metrics. I smiled, remembering Dad's words about bankruptcy. Instead, I'd taken my severance pay, sold my condo, and poured everything into my stupid invention. 3 patents later, we were on the verge of changing the energy industry forever. My phone buzzed, a text from my younger brother James, who still worked at Bennett Industries. Sis, you need to know something. The Saudi contract fell through. Stocks dropping. Dad's desperate. Another notification popped up, a news alert. Bennett Industries shares plummet 40% as oil prices crash and green energy gains ground. I pulled up the company's stock chart. It wasn't just bad, it was catastrophic. Bennett Industries had bet everything on fossil fuels, ignoring the global shift toward renewable energy. Now they were paying the price. Michael, I called out. How many inquiries have we had about licensing our technology? He checked his tablet. 17 major energy companies in the last week. None from Bennett Industries, though. They'll call, I said confidently. They're just too proud to admit they need the technology they called stupid. Right on cue, my phone rang. Bennett Industries' corporate number. Elizabeth Bennett, I answered professionally. Elizabeth, my father's voice was strained. We should talk. About what? My stupid inventions? My ridiculous dreams? The industry is changing, he admitted reluctantly. We need to adapt. Your battery technology, we'd like to make an offer. I thought about the nights I'd spent sleeping in my lab, the savings I'd burned through, the doubts I'd pushed aside. I thought about every time they'd mocked my vision of the future. I'll have my lawyers send over our standard licensing terms, I said coolly. No, he interrupted. We want to buy the patents outright. Name your price. I looked around my lab at the technology that would power the future, the dream they'd called stupid. Sorry, I replied. Stupid dreams aren't for sale. Then I hung up, smiling as another news alert popped up. Phoenix Energy Solutions revolutionizes solar storage. Industry insiders predict market disruption. Sometimes the best revenge isn't selling out. It's proving exactly how wrong they were to count you out. My phone buzzed again, probably Dad making another offer. But I was too busy changing the world to answer. After all, stupid dreams take a lot of work to turn into brilliant realities. The next few weeks were a hurricane of activity. As Bennett Industries' stock continued to plummet, Phoenix Energy Solutions was making headlines everywhere. Our solar battery technology had caught the attention of the entire energy sector. Tesla wants to schedule a meeting, Michael reported, rushing into my office. So does General Electric. And the Department of Energy just called about implementing the technology in their new solar farms. I nodded, reviewing the latest batch of licensing inquiries. My phone hadn't stopped ringing since our successful trial results went public. But one name was conspicuously absent from all official communications: Bennett Industries. Unofficially, though. Elizabeth, please, my mother's voicemail pleaded. Your father's pride is destroying the company. Just talk to him. You've made your point, my sister Amanda's text read. Dad was wrong. But don't destroy the family legacy over it. I sat back in my chair looking at the view from my new office. The stupid inventor now had a corner office in a gleaming downtown building, while Bennett Industries stock hit new lows every day. Dr. Bennett? Michael appeared again. Your brother James is here. He says it's urgent. I sighed. Send him in. James looked terrible. His usually immaculate suit was wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes betraying sleepless nights. It's worse than we thought, he said without preamble. The board is meeting tomorrow. They're talking about forcing Dad to step down. Not my problem, I replied, turning back to my work. Lizzie, he used my childhood nickname. The company will fail without your technology. Thousands of people will lose their jobs. People who had nothing to do with how Dad treated you. I looked up sharply. Don't try to make me feel guilty for their failure to adapt. I tried to warn them years ago. I know, he said quietly. I was there, remember? I saw how they treated you. But I also saw how many nights you spent in that R&D lab, how passionate you were about changing the industry. Do you really want to see it all collapse when you could help? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed a news alert. Bennett Industries board calls emergency meeting, position in jeopardy. I pulled up the company's stock chart. Another 15% drop today alone. At this rate, the company my grandfather had built wouldn't survive the quarter. The board wants to meet with you, James added. Not Dad, the board. They've reviewed your original proposals from 3 years ago. They want to know if it's too late to implement your vision for the company's future. I stood up and walked to the window looking out at the city skyline. Somewhere out there was the Bennett Industries building, where I'd once dreamed of revolutionizing energy technology. Were they called those dreams stupid? Tell them, I said finally, that Phoenix Energy Solutions is open to discussing a partnership. Not a buyout, not a takeover, a partnership. On my terms. James sagged with relief. Thank you, Lizzie. Don't thank me yet, I turned back to him. My terms won't be easy. And Dad will have to publicly admit he was wrong. He will, James assured me. He already knows it. You should see him, Lizzie. He sits in his office staring at your old prototype designs. The ones he threw away that day. I picked up my latest patent certificate, the third one this year. Funny how stupid dreams look when they're changing the world, isn't it? As James left, I called Michael in. Schedule the board meeting. And get me everything you can find about Bennett Industries' current R&D projects. If we're going to save the company, we're going to do it right. My phone buzzed again, another text from Dad. I was wrong. Please help save what your grandfather built. I didn't respond. Tomorrow's board meeting would say everything that needed to be said. Sometimes the sweetest victory isn't watching them fail. It's making them admit why they failed and then showing them how to succeed. The Bennett Industries boardroom fell silent as I walked in. 14 pairs of eyes watched me. The board members who'd once dismissed my ideas, my father sitting diminished in his CEO chair, and James in the corner looking hopeful. I set my laptop down at the head of the table, their invitation, their choice of seating. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Before we begin, I said clearly, I want to read something. I pulled out a worn piece of paper. This is from my termination meeting 3 years ago. Elizabeth Bennett's continued focus on unrealistic green energy projects represents a waste of company resources and demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of our industry's future. Dad flinched. He'd written those words himself. Now, I continued, pulling up my presentation, let's talk about that future. The next hour was a comprehensive breakdown of how Phoenix Energy Solutions could save Bennett Industries. Our battery technology was just the beginning. I laid out a 5-year plan for transitioning the company from fossil fuels to renewable energy leadership. This is extraordinary, the board chairman admitted. But the cost will be nothing compared to the cost of extinction, I finished. Your choice is simple, evolve or die. We'll need to restructure the entire company, another board member pointed out. Yes, I agreed. Starting at the top. All eyes turned to my father. He stood slowly, straightening his shoulders. I hereby resign as CEO of Bennett Industries, he said, his voice rough. And I recommend my daughter Elizabeth as my replacement. The room erupted in whispers. I held up my hand. No, I said firmly. I don't want to be CEO of Bennett Industries. I want to merge our companies. Phoenix Energy Solutions and Bennett Industries become Bennett Phoenix, a new company, leading the green energy revolution. Kosis, I continued, looking at my father. You handle the transition of existing infrastructure. I lead innovation and future development. We work together as equals. Dad's eyes met mine, and for the first time in years I saw something there besides disappointment. Pride. The board will need to vote, the chairman said. Of course, I smiled. While you do that, I should mention that Tesla's offer for an exclusive partnership with Phoenix is still on the table. They're waiting for my call. The vote took exactly 3 minutes. Unanimous approval. As the board members filed out, Dad stayed behind. Elizabeth, he started, then stopped. Your grandfather. He would be so proud. Of the stock price? I asked pointedly. No, he shook his head. Of how you proved us all wrong. Of how you saw the future when we were stuck in the past. I opened my briefcase and pulled out something I'd brought specially for this moment. My original solar battery design, the one he'd thrown across his desk that day. Keep this in your new office, I said, handing it to him. To remind you that sometimes the stupidest dreams are the ones that save us all. 6 months later, Bennett Phoenix's stock had tripled. Our green energy technology was revolutionizing the industry. Dad and I had weekly dinners to discuss company strategy, gradually rebuilding our relationship along with the company. The plaque outside my office read, Elizabeth Bennett, co-CEO and Chief Innovation Officer. Next to it hung a framed copy of my termination letter, and below that a simple quote. Stupid dreams aren't for sale, they're for changing the world. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving them wrong. It's showing them a better way to be right. And sometimes, the dreams they call stupid are exactly what they need to save themselves.